last call.
A las afueras de la ciudad de Belén, aquí en la copa de los árboles,
on the outskirts of the city of Belém, it's hot up here on the treetops. There are a lot of insects and things are going on. Incredible things searched for by incredible people. My friend João Batista, for example, a 56-year-old man who climbs trees. There are many men and women like him here in the Amazonia that struggle to protect it and to get to know it. From an ecological point of view, it is always said that the Amazonia is a threatened territory. Today, we are going to meet the people that know all about this, and who, like João Batista, sometimes even risk their lives to know better the Amazon's secrets.
I was studying law and human science and had a bureaucratic employment. On my first trip, I suddenly found an orchid on a tree and became fascinated. I cut the flower and brought it home with me. It had a sweet scent of cinnamon and a beautiful color to it, shiny. It was a Cattleya nobilium, and when I discovered that it was an orchid, I didn't even know that these flowers existed. From that moment on, I decided that I would change my life and abandon my bureaucratic job on the first opportunity that I got. And on the second opportunity, I left the university and moved directly towards the countryside, which was the only place where I would be able to appease my curiosity and do exactly what I wanted to do. Discover the plant life, discover the orchids. I would need more than one life, or perhaps 10 lives, to travel through this whole territory, which is the Brazilian Amazonia, and discover the enormous amount of species that are unknown to me. What can I do? Return for a second life? Well, if that were possible, I'm ready.
For the time being, the eminent botanist João Batista, a hunter of pretty flowers as he calls himself, has gotten the best out of his 30 years of dedication. The most curious and unknown Amazon flowers have names thanks to him, like this Placiele ovalifolia, a minute orchid, possibly the smallest flowered plant in the world. We are the first to see his latest discovery, which he proudly shows us.
I would like to show you my latest discovery. Let's say she's my youngest daughter. I discovered it in Santarém, a municipality of the Amazon River. Plants, like people, have to be registered on a listing. They need a name, and that is precisely what I am doing with this one. I am signing her name in the General Botanic Register by the name of Galeandra Santarena, as a tribute to the city of Santarém, the surroundings of which is where I found it. It is a beautiful, beautiful orchid species because of its color that is different from the rest of the species, which have a duller tone.
When this passionate, self-taught man began his interest in orchids, the Brazilian Amazonia had less than 400 species registered. Today, thanks to his knowledge, the number is much larger, and we can now talk of 740 species that have been studied and classified. There are orchids all over the world except for the Antarctic. Nonetheless, we can find these flowers living in the icelands of the North Pole, or in the dry sands of the Sahara Desert, or in Spain or Japan. This botanical family, which Confucius called the plants of the gods, is the most numerous and also has a sophisticated sexuality. Vegetable intelligence, perhaps.
The pollinator of this plant is a solitary bumblebee of the Ulema genre. The pollination process that it carries out is very sophisticated. In order to settle here on the labello, attracted by the scent of the plant, it will have to brush against this string. This antenna, which functions as a catapult, launching the pollen capsule that will stick to the insect's back. When I touched the antenna, the visidium spurted out. This is the device that the masculine flowers have a protective shield that will later fall away with just the two pollen compartments remaining stuck together. These are the reproductive organs of the orchids. The masculine organs will be carried to the feminine organ in the other flower by the bumblebee. See this natural glue, which enables this sexual device to become fixed on the insect's body. By the time it dries, the bumblebee will have had time to travel to another orchid and deposit it there, in this way guaranteeing the fertilization of the flower.
This eminent botanist, whose inspiring hero he has confessed to us is Dr. Livingstone, works with another person who is madly in love with these plants of such strange beauty, the Japanese botanist Yasunao Sakada. Together, without any official backing and with the money that comes out of their own pockets, they keep this botanical garden in Belém de Pará, where they carry out their passionate investigations, hoping to achieve a greater amount of protection to the scarcest of flora.
Elas são como uma faca, né? Tem a parte do calanto, é assim mesmo, e depois tem essa parte.
Tem muitos.
Look at this. Here are a lot of dead insects.
Besides studying North American and Asian species, this Japanese botanist settled in Brazil for a number of years, and also studies some genuses that are endemic to the Brazilian Amazon jungle, such as this one, the Drosera genus, from Pico da Neblina. There are approximately 20,000 orchid species on the entire planet. In the Amazon region, Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela head the list of countries that have the widest variety. Joao's investigations not only take place on Brazilian territory. Our man has also been in those countries. Each and every one of these colorful flowers form a part of a healthy but delicate mosaic. The Amazonia would lose a great deal without them, and its loss would sooner or later be ours. Joao is not the only guardian of this future, but is without a doubt a botanist ahead of his time, who, as he says, could do with a reincarnation in order to continue dedicating himself in body and soul to the understanding of these living beings. The first thing one learns in order to be able to develop any kind of scientific work in the Amazonia is this. The Amazonia sets the pace and decides when and where. Reaching the heart of the Amazonia is a complicated task. For João Batista's Technicolor orchids to grow, this monochromatic tapestry has to be alive. The full scale of green is the dominating color in this primary jungle of Tapajós. One of the most important scientific investigations of the 20th and 21st centuries is taking place here. Important institutions such as NASA have invested money and brainwork over a number of years in the attempt to learn once and for all, using this corner of the world as a model, how the rainforest works. Trees are live terminals here, connected to a central computer that registers their biorhythms every half hour. They communicate this way with scientists, telling them what their needs and problems are. This international project is carried out in one portion of 2 hectares of jungle. One remains untouched, while the other is totally isolated by way of 6,000 plastic panels with the intention of artificially reproducing an environment of extreme drought, similar to that caused by the climatic phenomenon known as the Niño. Not a drop of water will reach the ground.